What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin, and I'm doing a Doctor Strange review. As I said on Twitter, didn't really get to see it till Sunday. I got my boy MG here. I'm pretty sure he saw it today as well. It's usually when we have free time, but we're gonna kind of give our opinions, what we thought about the movie. What we liked, what we didn't like, and overall score. Also Easter eggs, different things that tie into other movie, other MCU movies, and yeah, we're gonna talk about the other MCU movies, the ones that's coming up, of course. But if just let me know what you think. What did you think about the movie as a whole?
As a whole, I thought they did a great job in terms of introducing Doctor Strange. You know, a lot of people would consider him to be kind of a not one of those top tier characters like a Spider-Man or a
No, he's clearly a B-list character.
yeah. So I think they did a great job in terms of introducing him. Visually, the movie was awesome. The fight scenes were awesome. Um, there were a couple of pieces. It did feel like they crammed a little bit. Like they didn't. 'Cause at this point, you're kind of used to watching like 2-3 hour, superhero movies. So kind of feels like they crammed it a little bit because it wasn't that super long movie. But overall, I thought it was a best introduction movie for a character since the first Iron Man.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think it. Maybe because it was a lower tier character, and they were doing the origin, they're just trying to get a feel out for him. I think if they do another movie, it's gonna be longer, but it's. I'll say it like this: the only other movie I can say out of the MCU that had better good visuals or as good, Guardians of the Galaxy. I
Yep.
think this movie has. That's the only movie I can say had better visuals, and even then, there wasn't as much going on in some of the scenes in Doctor Strange as you would see in Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, you saw space, but uh, in Doctor Strange, you just saw some weird, trippy LSD type shit. And honestly, I thought if you went to this movie high, you you have a good fucking time. That's not to say because the movie's bad, but no, just especially and this will have spoilers. I'm sorry, this is if you ain't seen it by now, you probably don't want to see it. Maybe you don't have time, but disclaimer: there will be spoilers. Like when the scene when she touched his head and then he was going through all these dimensions. He saw a bunch of shit. He literally flew off the planet. Saw a butterfly, whatever. They kind of tried to throw a little joke in there, whatever. But you saw all this crazy shit. All the different fight scenes. The buildings being literally warped. Changing reality and whatever. All that shit, and it is something new. It's not the same formula as you would see with any of the other superhero, especially the Marvel superhero movies, where they kind of got into doing a routine. They did the same thing. And that's not to say it was what they do isn't good, but it felt a lot of the movies feel the same, and some of the things they do. But this feels like a change that they really needed. You bring in magic, you bring in the multiverse. I really enjoyed it, and speaking on the psychedelic visuals, if you read any of the comics, especially some of the early Doctor Strange comics, that's what you saw. You saw these just weird, colorful, just trippy shit, and you saw that in the comic, and I thought they got that down to a T. I thought the whole origin, the way it was done. I know you brought some comparisons with Iron Man. That was another origin story that I really really liked. Was Iron Man 1, and they got it to almost a T, and I felt as though it's very similar with this. How well they got it. Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing as Doctor Strange. I thought he was going to be good first seeing him. He was a guy that a lot of people wanted. He was a guy that I wanted to be Doctor Strange. If I'm a fan of Doctor Strange, and now you see why. I think he definitely was the guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, my first exposure to him was Sherlock. So, um,
Yeah, which he's still doing another season too, which is
yeah.
been very good.
And so, he's a good actor. So when they cast him, I definitely thought it was a a good fit, especially after seeing the first images of him as Doctor Strange when they released those, those initial, posters and artwork for him as Doctor Strange. I was like,
Yeah.
yep, I can see it. He's one of those guys. It's kind of like you said, like with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. When you look at them, you see that character. It's not the same as like Chris Evans. When you see him, you don't necessarily 100% see Captain America because it could almost be any buff blonde dude. You see it with Loki, Tom Hiddleston. You see it with a Chris, with Thor. You see it with I'm missing one person here who the guy who plays Professor Xavier in X-Men, or Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Yeah, or even what's it called? Who plays Magneto? Either the younger version or the older version. I know the younger version, Michael Fassbender. Mm-hmm. Can't remember the older one, but when you look at them, you can see them as that character. Yeah. And I thought they did a great job casting. I thought the overall casting was good. I haven't seen Rachel McAdams in forever. So, seeing her, I didn't have, the Ancient One not being Asian.
They said there was a lot of things going on with that, and people were telling me it was like, it's a big I guess there's a lot of tension. It's a lot of tension with the whole Asian thing, but I don't really know. But I was disappointed with the casting choice. But I thought she did a good job of what was given and what she was essentially given in the movie. She really did the role right.
Yeah, she didn't do anything to make you say you regret you regret her being cast. Yeah. So I think a lot of times that's important. Like we had the same problem with Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, where it was like, we don't like him being Lex Luthor, but he didn't do anything to make you say I hate him.
Yeah, he just kind of didn't feel like Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. What Lex Luthor that we like.
Yeah, I thought the guy who played Baron Mordo was good as well.
Yeah, that was good. That was another casting choice that got changed from the comics because Baron Mordo is white guy. Mm-hmm. So that was another casting choice that got changed, and I thought he did a good job. I am not about to try to say this actor's name. You can try it. I'm not about to try to say it.
I gave up.
I've seen Homeboy in a few other movies that I thought you knew he was a good actor coming in, and I felt as though Tilda Swinton, who is the Ancient One, and Homeboy, that I can't say his name, they were good actors. Because I made a video talking about that. I thought they were good actors. It was just, I guess, I wanted to keep, because they're basing it off source material. I wanted to stay close to the source material, but I think with the acting job they did that I saw in this movie, they did a fine job. And in the end, that's all that matters. You want to, you want to get some guys out there that can act, and I thought they did that. I do agree with you with saying one thing that they kind of like crammed, especially I would say midway. It started good because they really broke down how he was as a person. They talked about his profession, but they really, I want to say about 20 minutes into the movie, they already got to the car crash, already got to him soaking, and you saw how this is kind of where he draws comparisons to Tony Stark. He's a big douchebag. Now Tony still is a douchebag. That's not going to change, but you can see his change in the movie. That's why I think the movie should have been a little bit longer, but you did see his change in the movie. You saw why he became a doctor. He how that helped him become a sorcerer. He still wanted to learn. You saw he read all these books and stuff, so he was still willing to learn. But also he had that compassion where he didn't. He killed one guy where they had an fucking awesome astral fight in the hospital. He kills that guy, and he was remorseful about it, and that's something you don't see with a lot of these superhero movies. A lot of them, they're fucking killing machines. Hell, even Batman in BVS, fucking killing machine. He was killing guys that didn't give a fuck. Even Captain America, where a lot of those guys you didn't see die, but come on, he literally kicked. What was it? Beginning of the Civil War, he literally kicked the guy over a car. You knew that guy was fucking dead. So I like to see that because it's something different. You saw he had a little compassion, and of course, a guy like Baron Mordo had a problem with that. But the development of Doctor Strange, I thought throughout the movie, even albeit being rushed, was still well done. I thought all the actors were good. There's no one I could point out that was really bad, but because of the length of the movie, you didn't get to see as much of the villain as you wanted to, just because it's really about them building up Strange, building up his personality, building up establishing him as the sorcerer that we know in the comics.
Yeah, and I told you, like, the middle felt a little bit rushed, just like you said. But I think at parts and times of the original Iron Man, it felt rushed at times in the middle too. So
yeah. How long was the original Iron Man? Wasn't that long? Runtime? Let me check.
No, it wasn't. But
it's 2 hours 6 minutes.
2 hours, okay. And then Strange was
hour 55.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're in that same ballpark.
Yeah.
Give or take a couple of minutes. I thought the thing that obviously outside of the visuals that really stood out was the fight scenes. Because when this is like your first venture into this realm, and that's another thing, Disney didn't take this and turn it into some cheesy hocus pocus cast a spell magic shit, which I was kind of afraid of because it's Disney, for crying out loud. They left it true.
Shit. Like the guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember the villain's name. He had like it was like invisible like energy swords. He was just fucking going around. He was stabbing people.
Yeah, swords made it matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the most time you saw like the orange energy whips, where he literally fucking smacked the guy down the hallway. So
he grabbed that fucking vase,
smacked
him in the face with the vase.
You saw a lot of, you saw a lot of brawl and a lot of kung fu, and that's something that's from the comics. Strange was a guy who was trained with different weapons. He could conjure. He didn't do it in the movie, but you saw that it was possible. He can conjure swords. He conjured all kind of weapons. The main thing he did was like the web. Of course, he did like the shields. But you saw the choreography, which coming into it, a lot of people didn't expect that. But if you read the comics, you know that these guys are trained fighters. You can see them training at the monastery, and you saw a lot of different Easter eggs. Including of course the Eye of Agamotto. Spoiler alert. You had the Eye of Agamotto, which housed the time, the time gem, which that knocks off another gem. The only gem we got left is the soul gem. They kind of give it away in the trailer where they talk. I can't remember the exact name of the trailer, but they were talking. It throughout the entire trailer it kept saying time. So that's another thing that.
They did that one trailer that they put out where they had it going in regular motion, and then they had the other trailer where they reversed it.
Yeah.
You couldn't understand it in the regular trailer, but when they reversed it, you can understand what they were saying.
Yeah, it was like time. It just kept like saying time, and now we see that they gave it away. It was like it's gonna be the time gem. You also had the cloak you had the cloak. You saw a bunch of different artifacts. You even saw the Sanctum Centurium, which is his home in New York. It's literally almost in a pocket dimension, where it just looks like a regular building, but you go in there, it's completely different. In the comic books, it just looks like a rundown building. You go in there, it's a fucking mansion. You saw different portals. He can go to different places. The way they open up portals. Just everything I thought, and coming into the movies, people seeing the earlier trailers, they were like, okay, it looks like, you have people that draw a comparison between, what was it, Batman
Inception.
Begins and Inception, because, people draw Batman Begins because, he went off to, train or whatever and get help, which, if you know anything about Doctor Strange came out before Ra's al Ghul. But looking at the movie, it's nothing like that. People just saw like the moving buildings and shit. But people, you see this movie, all that comparison to that is gone. All the magic you saw, all this weird psychedelic shit that you saw when they were running. You know, they go to the mirror world. You see them running throughout the city, man, and you like see buildings split into like fours and shit. This the shit that you saw in there, you throw those comparisons right out, and it just adds to the visuals. The visuals are crazy.
And the thing I liked about how they were doing that, where like all the buildings and all the streets were moving, was the way they used that during the fight. So it wasn't just the buildings moving and then them fighting. It was them using the changing environment as well, whether it be running or jumping off or something. Or you had that scene where Strange and Mordo were getting chased out of the it was out of the New York Sanctum, and all of a sudden the Ancient One shows up and she closes everything off, and then they ended up, I can't pronounce my man's name, the villain. He opened up one of those portals and kicked her through it, and then she fell and died. But I like how they didn't just change the environment for the sake of visuals, but they used that change in the fights. Like as they were running, as Mordo and Strange were running, the environment was still changing, so they had to adapt on the go. So I really liked how they did that.
But also, like you saw, especially when they were chasing throughout the city, you saw where Strange opened up the portal, and he kind of like flipped them so they slide down the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's even just weird explaining it, but you saw a lot how they use the environment. Or when Strange was, they were in the Sanctum Centaurium, they were fighting, and Strange was running away, and dude did a spell, and it literally the bottom of the floor just pretty much just started moving in place, kept them from running. So you're right, you did see him use the environment. It wasn't just for a show. They actually use it as to their advantage. And those were the Strange. Only two people that really could have done that was of course the main villain, and of course the Ancient One, because they drew more power from the Dark Dimension, and Dormammu, who was that villain in the background, was that villain who pretty much all this tied to. Ancient One drew power from him. The main villain drew power from him, and that's how that's how the Ancient One was able to live so long in this movie. Now, in the comic books, it's obviously different, but they had to, I guess, give motivation for everything going on with Mordo, and you kind of see throughout the movie his change of heart. How he felt about them breaking the laws, and how the Ancient One was lying to him the whole time. And then, of course, even about how the ending all played out. Even though Strange was victorious, it was how he did it, and Mordo didn't really like that. So it kind of sets up more with him in a future movie. The way it ended with Dormammu, he's still there. I like the way they did that ending. It wasn't some Doctor Strange just somehow just beats him through the power of will. Hell no. He had to trick him. He had to trick him to beat him. And, you're going to see Dormammu be that enemy later. You're going to see Mordo be that enemy later. Because, in the comics, he's one of Strange's biggest villains. So, I like how they set up future things. And that goes to say everything that Disney and Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing. They've done a great job of just setting up more stuff with their movies.
Oh yeah, I think it was, they left a lot on the table, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I put it out on Twitter earlier that I thought this, after watching this, Strange could become Marvel's new Iron Man.
Yeah, he could be that character that moves up from B. Because remember, Iron Man was a B-list character when they first did that movie. Yeah. He was not in the same tier with Spider-Man, Hulk, Captain America. He wasn't in that same tier. Wolverine. He wasn't in the same tier with those characters. But now he's moved up to the mainstream, and you just look at the amount of money that his movie has grossed, and then just how many comics he's been in since his popularity growth. Also, how much this movie? I know money is a big thing, but this movie made was about 390 million worldwide.
Yeah, I think they
It's
did like 80,
crazy.
85 domestic and then the rest internationally.
Yeah, and at this point, we could just assume that those movies just print money.
Yeah, I'll say this now. It's been on like the last few movies I've gone to see. When I went, the theaters weren't packed. 'Cause I usually like to go like on a Sunday morning when nobody's, when I can get in there and not have to worry about sitting around a bunch of people talking
Same
and
here.
shit like that. When I went there, bro, it was still packed. Now there were a lot of people there going to see Trolls, which was out this weekend, like the kids and stuff like that. But that entire theater was packed for the Strange movie. So that's a good sign, really good sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
definitely.
clapping during scenes during the movie. People went crazy when the cloak basically was like just choking my man's out when Stranger got stabbed. Cloak was choking him out, and then you had the scene where the cloak tried to wipe the blood off his face in the hospital. Like the cloak won people over.
The fucking cloak. The fucking cloak. Like that's crazy. Like, man,
It's kind of
they
like
could
his
they can
It's like
make
his
a
Jarvis, you know.
they can make a cloak poppin'. Come on, man.
Yeah,
They already made
that's
a
where
talking
he tried
tree.
to
They already made a
run for
tree
the
and a
axe.
raccoon popular. They made a cloak popular. Come on, bro.
Yep. He tried to run for the axe, and the cloak was holding him back and trying to tell him to go get the what's it called? That I don't even know what to call it, but the shit he tied my man's down with.
Oh, that was fucking bad. He threw it in. They
That
just
was
fucking.
just fucked dog.
I was like, yo, I see, and just all that shit, man, all the magic and all that shit. That shit was it was cool. It was fucking cool as hell. But what about big Easter egg at the end of the movie? Thor being there.
Man, oh man, this is I I don't know how much Strange is gonna end up being in Ragnarok, but I'm really hoping he plays a pretty nice role in that, considering the fact that we're dealing with different dimensions and shit with Ragnarok now. The scene itself was fucking hilarious with the beer that kept refilling itself, and
Yeah,
Thor didn't know what the fuck was going on.
because he originally had some tea and it
Yep.
changed to a beer.
And,
And
and
I like the way Strange is acting. It's kind of strange that from the comics, kind of cool, confident. A little different from the movie, but obviously this is him starting out. But apparently, like you said, it's going to take probably around the time of Ragnarok, because you heard Loki. You heard Thor talk about looking for Odin, looking for Loki, trying to stop him. So you know, you always get the nice Easter eggs, setting up another movie. And we're gonna get Thor Ragnarok next year around this same time. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how Doctor Strange affects that particular movie, if at all. But
yeah,
they always
especially
doing a good
considering
job
the
of
fact
setting up
that
stuff.
the Orb Agamotto is
It's
in
out.
Thor as well, so
Yeah, so
um
yeah,
it kind of all connects to it on a different level. Plus, I think outside of the Thor universe, I mean, Strange now is going to be the only person who, well, everybody knows about the Infinity Stones now, but I mean, he's kind of the one of the guys that's connected to them now,
yeah,
because of how much power they carry. So, obviously, he's going to be in Avengers as in the next Avengers movie as well. So, he's going to be playing a pretty intricate part in these movies going forward. So, that's really good to see, man. It's a nice change of pace, because you got like Scarlet Witch, who, she's not a magic user. She can just
it's pretty much a mutant ability. Yeah,
yeah, it's a mutation. So, it's a way big switch up. I mean, it's a switch up just in general, because I mean, when you really, really look at it, you had like Damien Dark and Constantine on Arrow, who could use magic. I mean, yeah, you can't really even count the Hand, and Daredevil is using magic. I mean,
to me, out of all those shows, out of all that, this is the true, really, really true form of magic. You saw how it could bend reality, how you
yep,
can teleport, through space and time. Astral projection. To me, obviously, this is on a huge budget, but this is recently, I can't think of another superhero movie that where magic. This you could really say it was magic. It wasn't guys going around like telekinesis or different shit like that. You actually saw
Yep.
visual magic and just all the things that just all the weird things that can happen with magic. Anything can happen when magic is involved. It's unpredictable. But what would you give this movie the score? Scale of 1 to 10, of course.
When I first left the theater, um, I was feeling like around a 7.5. And now that I've had a chance to really sit on it, I'm gonna boost my rating up to like a 8.5.
Ooh.
Um, it was a 7.5, but then I sat there and somebody on Twitter reminded me that I gave Suicide Squad a 7, and I was like, well, Suicide Squad, that that lived down from the expectations, obviously, and Jared Leto's Joker gave them some extra points that they didn't deserve, in my opinion. Um, but after sitting on it, I can't find much to complain about the movie. So at that point, it's a 8 minimum, and then you throw on top of the fact that the visuals were good. Um, all the action was good. They stuck they stuck to the source material as much as they could. There were obviously some changes. I enjoyed the movie, man. I would watch it again. When the DVD comes out or Blu-ray, I'm gonna grab that for sure. And then just imagine when it starts to come on TV.
Yeah.
That this is definitely an 8.5 for me. And the reason I'm saying 8.5 too is because they left a lot of room for growth with the Doctor Strange franchise. Not just growth as a character, but growth for the actual movie in terms of the visuals and in terms of all the stuff they can do. With the CGI. So I'm gonna stick with the 8.5 because I got a feeling the next one's probably gonna jump that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8. I think I'm gonna go with 8. I think some of the and 8 for me is really good. Hell, it made I plan on actually going to see the movie again. So hell, it could even jump up from there. This is without taking out all the first just seeing it for the first time and you're actually judging it as a movie. I think I can judge it pretty well seeing it the first time, but you always want to go see it, especially if it's a movie you enjoy. You always want to go see it, man. So right now, I'm going with an 8. Movie to me was amazing. Like there are some flaws, but I don't think any flaw that. Matter of fact, I'm jumping that up to an 8.5. I don't think there are any major flaws that really hurt this movie outside of some pacing issues just because of the length of the movie and them trying to cram everything into the middle. But I thought there's no actor that sticks out as that was a bad that actor did a bad job. I thought every single actor, even the love interest, I thought she did an amazing job. When she was in there.
She's come a long way from being on Mean Girls.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought she did a really good job. Um, I just can't. The villain, like I said, I thought they could have got him some more screen time. That would be another complaint for me. But overall, I thought the movie was really good. The coming into it, I was like I said, with some of the casting choices, I was kind of afraid for the movie, and being a fan, I really wanted it to work, and it was a movie that was trying to do something so different than the regular comic books or Marvel formula that it had a huge risk of failing, but it definitely introduced a new character. And we'll have to wait and see how popular Doctor Strange becomes now. Will it be like the Iron Man? Maybe not, because of the timing of the Iron Man. It was one that really started the MCU. But we'll have to see with the popularity. You saw the popularity of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of that, that's going to come next year, along with Spider-Man, along with Thor. So it's the MCU is still going on, it's still popular. A lot of people think it's gonna die down. Not no
What
time
was their
soon.
budget for this?
It had to be really. I could check that, but it had to be pretty high with all the CG stuff they were doing. It was fucking amazing the CG they were doing.
Because they kept the non CG stuff pretty, like the non CG stuff pretty basic.
165 million, so they made their money back. You have to throw on advertising, but I think, yeah, they made close to 400 million. Let's say about 250 million if you include advertising as well. So I think they definitely got a profit off that.
It's only opening weekend too.
165 million seems cheap.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
With the CG.
Yeah, and only opening weekend they did that type of those type of numbers, and that number they'll probably end up finishing around what 600-700 million.
That's what's projected at right now.
So I'm really interested to see what they do next go around when they put more money into the budget, because visually it was great now, but I can only imagine what it's going to be next time. It's kind of like with Guardians, man. Yeah. With Guardians, it was like, wow, I can't believe, how amazing this was visually. And now they're going to have a bigger budget, so they can go further and be more detailed with it. So,
and Dormammu was probably going to play more of a prominent role or some kind of, and it's heavy CG with him if they do put him in there. So it's definitely going to be in 200+ million in terms of budget, but it's actually a lot lower than I expected. 165 million. I know, that's a lot, but for what they were doing in this movie, some of the effects, I was expecting over 200 million in terms of the budget.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so, man, he needs to take one of the leading roles for, because they're starting to phase out some of these other characters out of the MCU.
Captain America.
Cap, yeah, they're gonna go with probably Bucky. From what I've been hearing, they might do a Bucky movie.
He's supposed to be in Black Panther. I mean, it's only right for him to be in there because he is in Wakanda right now.
So you got him, and obviously Captain. They're planning on making Captain Marvel the centerpiece of the Marvel universe with the phases going forward. Which I understand how powerful she is and whoop de whoop, but Doctor Strange is
to me a better character.
More powerful, if you ask me. I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do if one of these people sends somebody to another dimension? I mean, come on, let's be honest about this. So, and then not only that, but his personality, because he's not all the way Robert Downey Jr. with it, but he's got that ego, and he's kind of got that smart ass way that he talks.
Yeah.
And so I think he would make for a really good, centerpiece, especially with, his connection to pretty much everything because of, where his powers lie, and he's not necessarily protecting physical danger, but mythical and mystical.
Yeah, more
danger.
like supernatural type danger.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much
multiverse and shit like that.
Exactly. So there's so much unexplained, so much stuff that's left out on the table, in a good way, that they got a chance to make this a special franchise. Yeah. They have a chance if they invest into it.
But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. MG, I know you don't got no YouTube. Give me your Twitter or whatever.
Twitter is just Virtuoso Sports, and then I'm on BlissSportsNetwork.com throughout the rest of the week.
And y'all guys know my Twitter, Calvin Philpott. That's Philpott, PHILPOTT. If you don't already follow me, go out and follow me. We always talk about all this shit with video games and sports, movies, specifically the comic book movies, anime, all that. We talk about that on Twitter. And if you aren't already subscribed to me, please do so. Peace.